it's me again, and don't mind the lighting. I just got home from work, so I work at night, cleaning, basically janitor. Anyway, if I'm pretty sure most of you might have found the audio a bit low. I don't know why it keeps happening like that, cause like this is the third time trying to record this video right now, and it still sounds so low. And my phone is literally a foot away. I'm doing this on my phone. My phone is literally a foot away right now, so I might need to get a camera and a new laptop, because my old laptop's kind of busted right now. But anyway, like I said in the introduction video, I was gonna do a video on the book haul, but I'm putting that on hold right now, because I know there's some people who are wondering, like, what's this, pagan religions about, and the most popular one, pretty much the biggest one so far, is Wicca. So yeah, so right now, I pretty much cram in some research before doing these videos right now. And so far, I have found 3 websites that seems pretty helpful. The first one, we're gonna do like the most simplest one, the explanation for Wicca of it. It's like the simplest, almost vague one, I guess you could say in a way, because there's more in depth to it. So on the Merriam-Webster website, they have Wicca as pronounced here, because I have notes already here, so pardon me for looking down so much. So it says here for a definition of Wicca in the Merriam-Webster website, it says a religion influenced by pre-Christian beliefs and practices of Western Europe that affirms the existence of supernatural power, such as magic, and of both male and female deities who inhere in nature, and that emphasizes ritual observance of seasonal and life cycles. Basically, it's a nature-based religion that focuses pretty much on like the male and female aspects of things, but worshipping more than one deity. Mainly, the first main ones are the goddess and the god. For the goddess, it has many names. Mostly, so far I've been hearing about, they mostly refer to it as Diana, or for some reason, for some people they prefer to it as Artemis. She has many names. And it's hard to remember that, because like I said, it's been a long time since I haven't practiced my religion, so I'm also refreshing myself, so I'm relearning what you are learning right now. But yeah, like I said, like, Wicca has a lot of in-depth to it than just this simple explanation here, especially when it comes to the goddess, the god, and the deities, because the deities can be of different religions, to be honest, of it. So it's not just like typical Celtic or Anglo-Saxon deities, Germanic basically, because it's mostly focused on in Europe. But there's also, like, you can also worship deities that are Egyptian, that are Indian, that are Chinese, that are Nordic. So there's many different ones. It just depends on like what calls to you more, like which deities brings you more closeness, more attention to, what draws to them. I'm very tired, sorry. What draws to them, but when you're starting out as Wicca, it's completely fine if you want to stick to the main goddess and the main god, because to me, in my opinion, all the other deities are different aspects of that goddess and god. So all the goddesses and other deities and the female aspect are pretty much different parts of the goddess. That's how I see it. So, and I know some people see it too the same way. And the same thing goes with the male deities as well. Male deities are different aspects of the main god, Pan. My voice is losing, sorry. But yeah, and then when it comes to the pagan holidays, the Wiccan holidays, which I'll probably do it in a different video if I will remember to do it. So, of that. But yeah, basically, it's a lot to explain, but so far this is like the simplest definition I can find at the moment I can't even come up with a simple definition in my head because I like detail, specifics, all that stuff. But yeah, so like for to see this definition again for like the simplest way, I'll have the link down below, as two other links down below as well, for the History Channel definition and the, let's see here, and the Britannica definition. The Britannica definition is, I feel like it's more in detail, but the same thing as well for the History Channel for that. So let's do with the History Channel one. This one I found very interesting because I found something new on this one actually. Because like I'm pretty sure some of you are probably aware that Wicca mainly started with Gerald Gardner, but before that happened, there was a woman named Margaret Murray. My bad, Margaret Murray. And for that, she, let me read this here because like I can't remember literally what I just wrote. It's not that long ago since I wrote this, honestly. But yeah, for the History Channel part, for their own meaning of Wicca and stuff like that, the history of it in a way, because it is History Channel after all. For the History Channel one, it says, rituals of modern Wiccan practice trace back to famed first-wave feminist Egyptologist, anthropologist, and folklorist Margaret Murray. She wrote several books on medieval religions centered around witch cults in medieval Europe that inspired British seekers to create their own covens and structure worship around her description, starting with 1921's The Witch Cult in Western Europe. Later, scholarship disputed Murray's claims about witch cult, but her influence could not be erased within Wicca. And that's pretty interesting, because it's interesting that this woman kind of started out like a premonition, or like a foreshadowing of what Wicca would be. That is, so she came before Gerald Gardner, and I respect that for it. Yeah, for seeing that, like she seems to be an incredible woman on that part. But yeah, imagine that 1921. That's like the earliest, closest thing to Wicca, even though Wicca started in the 1950s. That's like about 30 years before Wicca was pretty much officially started as. And now to the Britannica version of it. It's more detailed from what I see. I mean, the History Channel one also has a lot of detail on Gerald Gardner and other people involved. They mentioned Doreen Valiente. They mentioned Aleister Crowley, which that man is very different in its own way. I might make a video on him too, if I can remember that. I'm still gonna, I mean, come on. I'm pretty sure every YouTuber must have watched their own videos too, to remind themselves what else do I need to mention of, or what else am I forgetting to make a video of. So I cannot be the only one on this. Anyway, so the Britannica version here says, Wicca is the largest of the modern pagan or neo-pagan religious groups on that part. Its followers, called Wiccans, identify themselves as witches and draw inspiration largely from pre-Christian religions of Europe. Followers often use the pentagram, a 5-pointed star, as the main symbol of the religion. So for the pentagram and that part, the top part represents the spirit, and then the other points my tongue just seizures for some reason. Like I said, the very top point of the pentagram is represented as the spirit, and the other 4 are presented as the 4 elements that is involved in our nature, in the universe, I guess, in a way. So earth, fire, air, water. I don't remember how it goes in order because I forget a lot, especially since I have a lot going on in my life. So, but yeah, just make a little clear definition on what the pentagram is supposed to be meant for. Followers often, okay, I already read that part. Sorry. Trace back to a retired British civil surgeon, Gerald Gardner. He spent most of his career in Asia, becoming familiar with various indigenous religious traditions. Upon returning to Britain in the 1930s, he became involved in the British occult community and claimed to have discovered a group of witches. I gotta learn how to write better. I sometimes can't even read my own handwriting. My bad. Let me read that again. Upon returning to Britain in 1930s, became involved in the British occult community and claimed to have discovered a group of witches operating near England's New Forest in 1939. Allegedly, it was their teachings that provided the basis of Wicca. Although for some reason, I think at some point in that article I was reading about, it said that some scholars think that that was not accurate. But there's a very long video, literally focused on Gerald Gardner in general and Wicca. I will put that in the link below from the channel timeline. They made their videos very detailed, very impressive, very interesting, and a tiny bit of humor sometimes, and I really like that channel. So I will put that in the link below if you want to know more about Gerald Gardner. They have an entire video about it. It's like over an hour long of it. And then in the 1951 repeal of Britain's archaic witchcraft laws, which I'll also try to make a video about that too, because you gotta learn your history, you gotta relearn your history as well on that part. He published a book, Witchcraft Today, in 1954 with the assistance of Doreen Valiente, as I mentioned earlier. And that's what I have at the moment of it. There's so much more to learn online because now since technology is getting bigger and bigger, we have more access to more information about anything at all, including Wicca or other pagan religions as well. And then before I finish this, I want to read this part quickly because so far the maximum time for a video is 15 minutes. I'm already at 12 minutes. So I want to read this really quickly on the introduction of this book, Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner by Scott Cunningham. Any book by Scott Cunningham is a good recommendation, by the way. Yeah, so here in the introduction, Wicca, the religion of the witches, has long been shrouded in secrecy. Anyone interested in learning the craft had to content themselves with hints from books and articles. The Wiccans wouldn't say much, save that they weren't looking for new members. Growing numbers of people today are dissatisfied with traditional religious structures. Many are searching for a personally involving religion, one that celebrates both physical and spiritual realities, in which attunement with deity is coupled with the practice of magic. Wicca is just such a religion centering around reverence for nature as seen in the goddess and the god. Its spiritual roots and antiquity, acceptance of magic and mysterious nature have made it particularly appealing. Until recently, the lack of public information concerning Wicca and its apparent exclusivity has caused such much frustration among interested students. Wicca doesn't seek new members. This has been a major stumbling block for those wishing to learn its rise and ways of magic. Wicca doesn't solicit because, unlike most Western religions, it doesn't claim to be the one true way to deity. With growing numbers interested in practicing Wicca, perhaps it's time to allow the full light of the dawning Aquarian age to illuminate these ways. To do so is to not interrupt Wicca as a salvation of our planet, but simply to represent it to anyone who cares to learn. There have been many obstacles. In the past, the only way to enter Wicca was to A. Contact and initiate Wicca, usually a coven member, and B. Receive initiation. If you don't know any witches, you were out of luck, for initiation was absolute prerequisite, basically required. Today, times are changing. We are maturing, perhaps too quickly. Our technology outpaces the wisdom to utilize it. Vast unrest spreads over the globe, and the threat of war looms over most of the more than 6 billion persons alive today. Wicca as a religion is changing too. This is necessary if it is to be more than a curiosity of an earlier age. The heirs of Wicca must point their religion firmly to the future if it is to have something to offer coming generations. Since we have arrived at the point where one mishap could end our planet as we know it, there has never been a time when Wicca as a nature-reverencing religion has had more to offer. So yeah, I'm gonna end this now. So subscribe.